And we welcome you back into another edition of Dodgers Down on the Farm, Double-A Tulsa edition. This week we're going to talk about James Outman. We're going to talk about Bobby Miller. We're going to talk about 5 hits in a row, and we're going to talk about Gus Farrell. We're going to talk about the injury of Cody Hosey. Of course, we're going to talk about Jacob Amaya, and we're going to talk about anything and everything Double-A Tulsa Drillers. So let's not waste any time, and let's get to it, and let's talk Double-A Tulsa Drillers. The Drillers lost 3 out of 4 games this week. They did not get to play on Friday or Saturday due to health protocols with San Antonio, so they got to play 4 games. They lost 3 of those, and like I said, they didn't play on Saturday or Sunday, but they are 28-20 on the season. They're in second place in the Texas League behind Wichita, who has a 1.5 game lead over them. Some of the leaders, James Outman leads the team in batting average at .296. He also leads the team in OPS at .994. And Ryan Ward leads the team in home runs with 13, which is also tied for the organizational lead with Johnny DeLuca. And he also, Ryan Ward does, leads the team in RBIs with 34. And so Ryan Ward is having just a fantastic year. For more of the statistics, the official stats, I have those linked in the Dodgers Down on the Farm article that you can find on Dodger Poke Report. So you can find all the stats and that just follow that link and you'll find all the stats that you need. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get to the videos from last week. First thing I wanted to show you were 5 straight hits that the Drillers had in their last game they played. The last game they played was on Friday, and they scored 5 runs in the top of the 5th. Leonel Valera legged out an infield base hit. James Outman doubled for his second hit of the game. James Amaya fisted one to right field, and then Devin Mann just absolutely smoked one down the right field line. Here is James Outman with his hit. So here's how it looked. I have that on my Twitter feed if you want to go back and look at that anytime you want. But 5 straight hits for Tulsa. They scored 5 runs in the top of the 5th. So that was probably the most impressive sequence of the week. Here's James Amaya's, Jacob Amaya's fist job to right field that got him a hit. That was part of that 5-hit barrage for the Drillers. So you can go to my Twitter or my Instagram and check out. Here's Devon Mann's double down the right field line. I have that listed there. So that's how it looked. 5 hits in a row for the Dodgers. They scored 5 runs in the top of the 5th of the last game they played on Friday. You are out. Man, we have talked ad nauseum at the great offense that James Outman has been playing basically ever since about halfway through last year when he got pulled up to Double-A Tulsa. Here is a home run that he hit, but you're also seeing an assist he had from left field and getting to see just how good and how accurate his arm is. That's his 12th home run that you just saw. And then you saw his assist from left field in last Thursday's game. His average at the time was up to .290. His OPS is almost .950. He had a 4-game hitting streak at the time. Here's that assist again. Watch him come through the baseball, release it, a perfect one-hop to the catcher in this video. And I believe that is Carson Taylor. And I know that's Carson Taylor in the video. He did a good job of walling off the plate, making a good tag. There's both offense and defense from him. Bobby Miller is the #1 pitching prospect in the Dodgers organization and has hit 101 several different times this year. So you know he has the big right arm, but he is certainly more than that. Miller has very good secondary that varies from anywhere up to the high 80s all the way down to the low 80s. There's a 101 mile-an-hour fastball. Friday night he had a very good outing. He went 5.2 innings, and he left with a runner on first base. He gave up 2 earned runs when it was all said and done as those guys scored. And he had 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. He threw 87 pitches. 55 of those were for strikes. So here you see the big fastball. You see the secondary that is anywhere from 10 to 15 miles an hour off of its fastball. So 2 really, really, really good performances in a row for Bobby Miller. Nick Robertson had another scoreless inning Thursday, which at the time made 4 out of the last 5 for him, where he had not allowed a earned run. And the James Madison grad is one of my favorites because of his versatility. I've talked about that several different times, but also the talent and the ease of which he is able to create easy power with that right arm. I'm just telling you, as the weather warms up, just watch for him to warm up as well. By the time this season ends, he will be turning heads. I am totally convinced of that. Totally impressed with the times that I have seen him in person. The big right-hander out of James Madison, Nick Robertson. If Aaron Oceanbine isn't the most underrated pitcher in the organization, if not the most underrated player at any position in the organization, I'd like to know who is. He has a unique motion. He has a unique pitch with a split finger. He has late tailing life on his fastball, as you can see right there in that video. He can ride the four seam up in the zone, as you've seen in the video, and he went 1 scoreless inning in his last outing Wednesday, which makes 9 out of 10 scoreless performances on the year for Aaron Oceanbine. This young man out of Eastern Kentucky in the Lexington, he grew up in the Lexington area, is very, very talented. He's unique. He's a wonderful young man. He's very competitive. You know, he transitioned to the bullpen in college, and that's allowed him to max out. He added a split finger late in his college career, and he has really taken off with it. So Aaron Oceanbine may be a guy that's not on a whole lot of people's radars. They need to be. You know, you talk about top 30 prospects that publications put out. Then you talk about the top prospects that the Dodgers have for themselves. Although Oceanbine might not be on a lot of the publications' top prospects list, I'll promise you he's on the Dodgers list because he is very good. He's done nothing but produce for this organization. Watch out this video. In this video, Jordan Leisure throws it hard in. He goes soft away. You know, that combination, that sequence is like buying your wife flowers. It just always seems to work. No matter what hitter it is, you know, no matter what scouting report, which, you know, pitchers and catchers go through a million different scouting reports. They go through them before each start. They go through them before each series. But no matter what scouting report, what hitter you're talking about, every single hitter is, hey, their holes are if you throw them up and in and low and away. Especially if it's hard in, soft and away. Those are the holes in almost every hitter's swing. And as you can see in this video, Jordan Leisure does a very, very good job hitting those holes. So you can watch that in this video. Leisure has not allowed an earned run in his last 3 outings, and he has not allowed an earned run in 5 of his last 6. I'm going to have to show some discipline here and not talk all day long about left-handed pitcher Alec Gamboa, because I promise you, if you gave me the platform and allowed me to talk about all the things that this guy does well, all the things that he represents, I could go on and on and on and talk about him for days at end. But I'm going to have some discipline. I'm going to keep it as short as I can and just say that he had a really good night. His last outing out, he was sinking the fastball. He was sawing hitters off, as you see in this video. He was throwing the back foot slider that was on point. So you can see that for himself, and he threw 2.2 scoreless innings. Right-hander out of Minnesota, Gus Farrell, showed a lot of grit and a lot of stuff as the calendar flipped to June. And what I mean by that is May was not the greatest of months for Farrell. His stuff was actually pretty good. He got transitioned from the starting role to being in the bullpen, and his stuff was pretty good, but he had a couple of performances where he didn't throw a whole lot of strikes, and then a couple of things unraveled on him. So, you know, it's been kind of a tough patch for him, and I'm so glad to see that he came back as June started and had such a wonderful performance. I'm just telling you, this is a talented young man. When he got traded over from the A's, he was a top 30 prospect for him. His younger brother, Louie, in the Minnesota organization, was their pitcher of the year in the minor leagues. So this is a talented young man out of Concordia, St. Paul, who, as the calendar is flipped to June, the weather is warming up. He's coming off the Tommy John surgery. I think he's ready to start rolling, get the wheels on the bus rolling, if you will. He likes to call himself the Gus Bus. So Gus Farrell, a talented young pitcher. Look at the tight slider that he has, the spin on that, and he likes to ride that fastball. There's that 4-slot fastball. So Gus Farrell, again, another one of those guys. There's that riding fastball up and in. One of those guys I could talk about all day long, but I'm just going to go ahead and end and say this, that I think he's getting ready to get on a roll. Devin Mann had 2 hits Thursday night for the Drillers, and for a while he was the leader in batting average on the team. He hit 300 in May. He's 3 for 7 so far in June, and is near the top of several different offensive categories on what is I consider to be quite possibly the most talented team in all the minor leagues. So Devin Mann, you know, he's taken over that second base spot. Miguel Vargas played it a lot last year. Michael Busch played it a lot last year. The Dodgers, or Double-A Drillers, I should say, also had Clayton Daniels. So now that you know Daniels on the restricted list, and both Vargas and Busch have got moved up to Oklahoma City. So that's kind of opened up second base. Not kind of. It has opened up second base to Devin Mann, so he can play that position every day. And I just think the consistency of knowing where he's going to play every day has really helped him, and he has been a very good offensive player because of it. Jacob Amaya got off to the blazing start offensively. He slowed down just a touch from his torrid start, which of course was to be expected because nobody on earth has ever hit at the same clip that he was hitting on early in this season, so he slowed down a touch, but he had 2 hits Thursday night for the Drillers. He's hitting .277, an OPS of .934. So if this young man can provide offense like that for the Dodgers, just stay around where he's at right now, he is going to be a plus player at the major league level, because a lot of people think that he is the best defensive position player, he's the best defensive player at shortstop, I should say, in the entire Dodgers organization, and he is just absolutely fantastic. His father, Frank, played for the Dodgers. Seems like I mention that every time I talk about Jacob. He grew up about 20 miles from Dodger Stadium. He went to high school at South Hills. The South Hills program has produced over 30 professional players, several major league players. So this is a young man that was destined to be a Dodger. He's having a very good year for Double-A Tulsa. Cody Hosey was having a tremendous year until he went on the IL, which is absolutely too bad. With a leg issue, I do believe it is. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's some sort of leg issue. He went out on a Sunday night. Brandon Lewis came in for him and got 2 hits after that. But Cody Hosey was absolutely smoking hot when he was injured. He's hitting .330, he hit .333 in May with an OPS of .876. He was playing the elite defense at third base. He had the walk-off last week that I showed you. That was probably the best moment in all the minor leagues for this year in 2022. There's Landon Knack. There's Hunter Feduccia that you saw on your screen. So Cody Hosey, too bad he's on the IL. He had the oblique strain last year that really affected all of his 2021. So he's had some injury issues. He's the former first-round draft pick out of Tulane. When he is healthy and when he is right, he is a first-round draft pick type player. So let's hope that Cody Hosey gets back in the lineup, and let's hope it happens soon. Ryan Ward might be my favorite young hitter in all of the organization. He's tied for the organizational lead in home runs with 13. He's hitting .250 with an OPS of .804. And, I mean, the energy he brings, the hit tool he brings here, you're seeing a double that he hit that James Outman unfortunately fell down on. But Ryan Ward, he hit .400 in Bryant, and then he backed that up with a .385 average his junior year, and then he got drafted by the Dodgers. There's a massive home run by Andy Pajes. We'll get to him here in just a minute. But Ryan Ward is one of the most exciting young hitters in the Dodgers organization, and I'm very, very high on him. Catcher Chris Betts is a former second-round draft pick that left and went to motocross for a while. He has a big fan club, by the way, that he built in that motocross. He's a very unique young man, very likable young man if you follow just kind of his past history and some of the things, the beliefs that he has as far as some of the quirky things he does. So a wonderful young man who provides really, really, really quality depth at the Double-A level for the Drillers. And, like I said, he was a second-round draft pick that left the game for a while. And, at the catcher position, you can't have too much depth, especially from, a left-handed stick. That means that now the Double-A Tulsa Drillers have 3 catchers in Hunter Feduccia, Carson Taylor, now Chris Betts, that all hit left-handed. So you name me another organization that has 3 catchers at the Double-A level that can hit like Feduccia, Taylor, and Betts that are left-handed. So quality depth at the catcher position for the Drillers. Speaking of those catchers, here is Hunter Feduccia out of LSU. He is a Louisiana boy who loves to fish. It seems like every time that he posts a picture on social media, it is about him catching a big-mouth bass. So you got to love a young man that grew up on the bayou fishing, Hunter Feduccia did, and that also grew up playing baseball, and he is very good at it. Another 2 hits that you're seeing on this video from the Thursday night game for the Drillers. His average is up to .266. His OPS is .909. So this is a young man that's not real flashy. He's maybe not a name that a lot of Dodgers fans have on their radar because he's not on a lot of the top prospects list. But he is a super solid player that you need to see play every day to understand just how good he is. And again, his OPS is .909. His batting average is .266. So he is very, very, very good. And he just simply does his job each and every night. Carson Taylor, another one of my favorite young hitters, a left-handed hitting catcher. Actually, he's a switch hitter from Virginia Tech. One of the very promising young catchers in the game. He's made huge strides defensively. He's always called a great game. Last year for Great Lakes, he got to catch Yeonil Choi from Korea. He got to catch Carlos Duran from the Dominican Republic. He got to catch Gavin Stone, who's from small-town America, and he got to catch, guys from the largest meccas in the world. So Carson Taylor has had in the past, especially last year, to develop a big diversity of pitchers, and he does a great job of meshing all the pitchers together. Let me go ahead and replay that so you can see that again. And calls a great game and makes it look seamless. And he always has that elite hit tool, especially from the left side against a right-hander. So Carson Taylor is a young catcher in the organization that I am very excited to see as he progresses through the system. I'm glad that you tuned in to another edition of the Dodgers Down on the Farm podcast, AA Tulsa edition, and I hope that you visit DodgerPokeReport.com or visit Dodger Poke on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. This is also going to be a podcast, so go to your podcast streaming service of your choice and search Dodgers Down on the Farm or Dodger Poke Report. And don't forget to subscribe so each time a new episode is dropped, you'll get a notification and you'll never miss a thing from Dodger Poke Report. As always, I'm glad that you've tuned in, and go Dodgers!